As we get into the more fine details of formatting the actual content, we want to again work from the larger details down into the more fine details. So first working through the overall structure of the content, from columns and paragraphs to column spans, and then down into the leading, the type size, and any other more minor adjustments we have to make. So first, just taking a quick look at this type, I noticed that when it placed in, and this is something that we have to watch for, and in the case of how we're doing this one, we brought it in from a text document, a text edit document. So there has been some corruptions to the type. Typically, we would be bringing in a Word document. So we can see some poor characters here in terms of the formatting and how it's come in. And sometimes it's just in the way that it translates some of that copy. So here where it says, but lately scientists, including former, so it looks like maybe it was a space or something. So I'm going to go over and look at this one and try and find that particular section. So under shrink and swells, lately scientists. So what it caught here was an M dash. So in that case, we can see that there's another M dash here after Colorado. So we look there and the same thing has happened. And what it's actually doing is putting in a space, comma. So it's creating a comma and the A with the umlaut and the I there. And it's doing that wherever there have been M dashes. So looking throughout, we probably just need to do a find and replace. But I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do it formally. So an M dash is Command Shift and your hyphen key. And sorry, Option Shift and hyphen. And we'll do it down here as well. Option Shift hyphen. Now normally we don't put spaces before and after M dashes. In this one, it appears that there are spaces, so we're just going to leave it just for consistency. But again, I'm seeing some others here. So if we look down at so far the 2013, so scientists don't expect. So again, it looks like it's added one in there. So we want to clean that up. Not too concerned about it in this recreation, but if it was actual copy, we'd want to make sure that we're working with a proper Word document, and we would place it in using some additional options, a little more advanced things that we'll learn down the road. But in this case, because it's some basic copy, we just want to make sure it's clean. So catching those little things, it's easy in a small article like this. However, if this was a manuscript, a book, we certainly wouldn't be able to catch all of those without a real going over, and that shouldn't be necessary. So when we place content in, especially from a Word document, we do have some more specific options that we review and check and deselect and so on in order to make sure that the copy comes in, including all of its punctuation, italicization, and so on. Anything that is pertinent to the readability and the message itself, and not throwing in these odd characters. So for the most part, I think we've caught them all. We may have to go over that and adjust a couple things as we go. So mentioning the working from the larger aspects of structure down to the smaller details, let's get this separated into paragraphs. And we've noticed that we have our hidden characters turned on. So again, if you don't, you're going to want to go down to, in your type menu, down to the bottom and show hidden characters. And it's ironic after you've done that it if they're already on, you hide hidden characters. So that can be a little deceiving if you don't know what this is referring to. But hidden characters are in fact these little things here. And the indicator that this is a paragraph is whenever one of these, and I always forget the name of it, is at the end of the paragraph. And same thing here. So even though this is a line, it's just a heading, it's being treated as a paragraph. And that's okay. That because it's a heading, it's going to be given a different treatment with the type anyway. And that's a paragraph, and a final paragraph with the credit and the credit content. So that's good. That's how we want that divided, because now we're going to do space after. And space after is what we use in lieu of doing this, clicking return. Because what return is doing is it's falsifying a paragraph. It's saying that the content where my cursor is blinking is a paragraph, but there is no paragraph there. So now this character has been brought into the content, and it's an unnecessary and falsified paragraph. Now, if this was to go into a digital environment, that would not translate as space in the coding. It would translate as a paragraph, and it would essentially close all of this up and we wouldn't see the spacing. So what we have to do is go through and designate space after over specific paragraphs here. And the way we do that, because we know this is everything that precedes this is the paragraph, we go in with our cursor, just get our cursor live, and we'll go up to space after, which if you don't see it in your character settings, you're going to go down to the left here and you're going to switch to your paragraph settings. And your space after will be more evident in the further left in the panel. So because I'm using a larger desktop, even in my character settings, I have the space after setting. But on a laptop, you may find you have to go to the paragraph settings to get your space after. And it's this little one right here, the box that indicates space after the lines indicating the content. So my cursor's live in that paragraph, and I'm going to click the up arrow, and I'm going to take this to about 1/4 of an inch. And then I'll do the same in each. Now, there is something that I'll show you that is even more efficient. So that was 4 clicks, but what I can do is highlight the content, use this eyedropper over here. We call this an eyedropper. You may be seeing the color theme tool, but you would go down to the eyedropper and you can actually sample preset content, and it adds in that space after. Now that's handy in larger amounts of content, but in this case, we just have a few paragraphs and we don't want to do even this little heading. So I'm going to undo that and go back and do that manually. And don't worry too much about the eyedropper situation. We'll be looking at that more throughout projects and tutorials, but it's a very handy tool, the eyedropper, as far as sampling color, sampling content structure, sampling attributes of other components, and it simply eliminates a lot of manual processing. So I'll go back to my type tool and go again into this paragraph and do space after. And this one, so we're applying space after that paragraph. And now we're good. We've done it all. We don't have to do space after the final paragraph. And that initiates the structure of at least the paragraphs. I can't emphasize how important it is to use space after instead of returns. And it's quite simple to do, but it's very easy to forget to do because of the habits we're used to in terms of text formatting, especially with programs like Word and the more basic text formatting programs. So having your hidden characters showing and confirming that you've got proper paragraphs, and then going into that paragraph, just clicking in, getting a live cursor in that paragraph. You could also highlight the whole paragraph, but there's no need when you can just click in, and then you adjust space after. Space before is something that we very, very rarely use. It could be removed from the program and would probably be a good idea to be removed from the program, but we'll see next term when we're working with books where space after has its moments, but they're extremely rare, and they're more of a loophole when we don't know properly how to use space after. So we'll see where that has its moments, and space between paragraphs using the same style, just as it says, ignore that for now. You're only really going to have to focus with space after in our work.